It may look like a harmless bagel toaster, but inside is a deadly donut. How do you know PlayStation is not a normal game system?
Hey everybody, welcome back to Game Esoterica, a continuing series, PlayStation 1 Paradise, where I take a look at some of my favorite PlayStation 1 games of all time, both in 3D and 2D, and today we're playing Harmful Park by SkyThink Systems. And this is just an absolutely wild shoot-em-up shmup that has so many strange things going on, and I did want to feature one shmup on this series, and it was really hard for me to decide which one I wanted, but I gave a couple a little bit of a playthrough in the background, and I decided Harmful Park was what I wanted to talk about. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But Harmful Park is the type of game that's 100% going to be a love it or hate it experience, and that depends on your opinion of cute-em-ups, which is basically just a shoot-em-up or shmup with a very cute, colorful nature over top of it if you're not familiar with that term. I think they're spectacular if done well and they don't get too far into the cutesy category, and Harmful Park 100% straddles the line between being cute, charming, and weird all at the same time. It is not the hardest shmup in the world. If you want to try to 1cc a shmup and you're just practicing, this is definitely a game that I recommend you start out with. It has just enough challenge for you to get better at the genre without being so difficult that you're going to die 100% of the time. But I just love the theming of this game. Basically, you're in an amusement park, obviously Harmful Park, and you go through different areas within the park and you get all sorts of different themes. We're now obviously in a haunted house or horror level, and some of the imagery is not cute whatsoever. Whatever the hell these ghouls are here, they are absolutely creepy, and you have these floating feet in the background as well. It's almost like Choaniki, the developers of that game, made a cute 'em up but decided still to be weird in some small aspects. And if you've never seen a Choaniki game, I'll leave a link in the description below so you know what I'm talking about. But it's one of those games, it is synonymous with the PlayStation 1, and it shows off the power of the PlayStation 1 when it came to 2D games. Sony, at least in the West, was so resistant to releasing any 2D games or even allowing other developers to get too close to them because they knew 3D was the future, but there's so many great 2D titles that were basically never brought over, and this is just so creative. We have all of these invincible enemies flying around, but we have these jaws right here. If you time it right and fly through them while navigating around, those jaws will kill the enemy for you. Pretty much every level has a new hook or a new theme or a new something to learn, and there are multiple weapons in the game. If you push a button, you can switch between this rapid fire shot to throwing pies and all sorts of other strange things, but I do keep the rapid shot on because that is my favorite. We even get to interrupt a wedding with this giant heart here overseeing the ceremony, and all of these floating hearts with duck faces coming up over top. Why do the hearts have duck bills on them? I have absolutely no idea. Does it matter? Absolutely not. When you're playing Harmful Park, you have a smile on your face and you're always excited to see what weirdness comes next. Because we started in a horror level, we went through a wedding ceremony, and now there's these happy carrots bouncing in the background with these evil watermelons right next to them, and of course a giant floating pumpkin head comes down. This is probably the most iconic imagery from the game. If you're going to see one screenshot of this title, it's going to be this pumpkin, but all of the 2D art, all of the sprite work and backgrounds in this game are just spectacular. I think this shows that with good talented developers that the PlayStation 1 could do 2D close to as well as what the Sega Saturn could achieve, and it's pushing all of those sprites, background layers, and effects without any slowdown whatsoever, which is not common on the PlayStation 1 because at least if you were in the West, you didn't really get a chance to see too many 2D games whatsoever, the most famous one probably being Symphony of the Night. As we move into the third level, the Animal Zone, the fun just keeps on coming. We have flying squirrels using a cape like Mario in Super Mario World, we have a monkey running around with bombs on his feet, and we have a panda riding another panda. We are just committing wholesale animal slaughter here, but I'm assuming these must be animatronic animals because this is an amusement park. Even the background has fun. You've got that hippo trying to eat a fairy in the background, and you have this giant ape with what looks like a remote control antenna coming out of his head eating bananas on a cow train. That's not a sentence I've ever said in my life. It's not a sentence I'll ever say again, but when you're playing Harmful Park, you expect to see absolutely everything and anything, and nothing will seem weird because everything is straight up weird. The soundtrack though, 10 out of 10. Go ahead and listen. I'll come back and tell you more about the game. I mean, it's just totally the perfect soundtrack for the visuals. It's definitely intense and you either may love it or hate it, but I really think it does a good job just kind of telling the overall audio story of Harmful Park. And it's such a bummer that the developer never made another game after this. This was their final game that they developed, but they really went out on a high note. And if you're wondering what the bomb in this game is, I really have never been able to tell. I think it might be a garnet yam or a purple sweet potato. Really not sure. Leave me a comment down below and tell me what you think. But obviously we have another animal with some sort of antenna on his head. Seems like there's definitely some animal experimentation going on with robotics in there. But honestly, just fighting a giant whale as it throws things, including Colonel Sanders, out of its mouth at you, it is just such a wild visual. And the Japanese apparently just love Colonel Sanders because he shows up in a lot of games from this era. But I mean, I can't blame him, he does make some good chicken. As we move on to the fourth world, Coaster World, again the weirdness just keeps on coming. But it's the visual quality of this game that I can't get enough of. The backgrounds are so hyper detailed. You have that horizon line in the back, you have the clouds, but every single building on the ground is recognizable. The pixel art in this is just so good. There's so many little details to look at, but unfortunately because it is a shmup, you really can't look at them too closely if you're playing because that's a one-way ticket to taking a death. You even have what looks like a giant floating monster from Doom with propellers on him, just floating in the background waiting to do something that you'll never actually get to see. But then you get to fight a gumball machine throwing these bouncing projectiles at you. It's just a mile a minute in this game. Nothing ever stops, nothing ever rests, nothing ever stops being weird, and those Choaniki vibes keep coming with that ship right there. Or maybe you want to fight somebody that's just drinking gasoline out of a jerry can and lighting it on fire as they spit it out. Don't even know what that enemy is, don't know what this enemy is, I just know that the artwork is spectacular, the game is fun, and I think it might be vomiting blood out of its own nose. That's at least the read that I'm getting. Leave me a comment down below and you tell me what you think. But that's the fun of Harmful Park. It is a very competent B+ grade horizontal shmup married to some cute, weird graphics with an awesome soundtrack. If you took every single element of this game and graded it separately, you'd probably give it a B to B+. When you put them all together, the sum of the parts is greater than the parts alone, and honestly some of the bosses make no sense. We're basically watching a movie at a drive-in theater and she has a little bit of a nosebleed, not sure what hobby she's into, it would cause her nose to bleed, but we also are fighting this giant woman while these flying hot dogs and what look to be maybe beets or radishes are driving around in the background. I don't understand any of it, it doesn't make any sense, I don't know why her face is that, but it just works. And this game does have a little bit of a story as well, so I'm going to let you listen and watch it for about 40 seconds and I'll come back and tell you a little bit more about the history of this game, why I love it and why you should play it. But enjoy!
9月15日昼下がりの午後島は突然にして恐怖のるつぼと化した。テレビをご覧の諸君、聞いて驚き。今からハートフルパークは独立帝国となり、本土に対して宣戦布告する。
And now you know it is a mechanical arm. If you were wondering, I was playing around a little bit, wondering if you would think they were real animals or if they were animatronics. They are mechanical. But as we get further into the game, it just has such a vibe. I start getting some PC 98 visual novel cyberpunk feels in the background, but nothing ever really goes together in this game. We have this cyberpunk futuristic city and we have these horses on a carousel with genies floating around on magic carpets. How do all of those things combine together? Well, I guess they're magical, but otherwise I have no idea. You've got giant lollipops in the background with a cow being abducted by a UFO and these parade koi just going by. You'll never have any damn clue as to why you're seeing the things you are in Harmful Park, but you're never going to care whatsoever because you're just going to enjoy seeing them. Like this giant duck float coming by again, looks like a Mardi Gras parade float with another smaller duck piloting it in the inside. It just seems like the artist had an absolute field day and the only notes they got from the developer was make it fun. They could do whatever they wanted, including make a tri-horse here, which definitely has 4 legs, not 3, making it not a tri-horse whatsoever. But I love that it's a Trojan horse with all of these soldiers inside of it. And if you look closely, there's a ton of references in this game to historical tales, to children's books, to movies, to literature. Tell me if you know where this next reference is from. I feel like most of you will be able to get it. But while you're looking at the reference, there are some teddy bears, pigs, and lions flying by with propellers coming out of their head. This game basically throws everything and the kitchen sink at you at once, and you have a ton of fun for it. It is a super competent shoot-'em-up shmup that has so many visual things going for it, you just can't help but love the game. Like this king here with his rockets on his feet, he unbuckles his belt, takes his stomach out, and it looks like some sort of dolphin or porpoise comes out of his belly. I have no idea what it is. If you know what it is, leave me a comment down below because I would be curious. But then again, does it really matter what it is so long as you're having fun looking at it? My answer would be no. But you could do a lot worse for horizontal shoot-'em-up shmups on the PlayStation 1 or any console for that matter. I'm curious who's played this game, who knew about it, and who's learning about it for the first time from this video. But take my word for it, if you've never played it before, definitely play it after the video. I'll be back next week with more PlayStation 1. I'll have videos of the week, but we are done. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.